After the success of Elden Ring and the lukewarm reception of Steel Rising, join me, Gwen, from Eep's Hideout as we discuss whether Wolong Fallen Dynasty is worth buying or not. To preface this, I used my actual gameplay footage for this video, so the quality would not be good but authentic. More details on that later. Wolong Fallen Dynasty is the latest release of Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja, the studios that bought us Dynasty Warriors and the Nioh series. It is a Souls-like dark fantasy game set in 220 to 280 AD China, where we play as an unnamed hero where we fight against demon-infested enemies plaguing the Three Kingdoms. Throughout the story, we meet characters with who we can fight alongside with. Every enemy we defeat increases our chi, which is used to then level up stats that are categorized by elements. These elements also unlock new active abilities such as buffs and magic attacks. The game's story is divided into battlefields, and this serves as the explorable area with the boss at the end. Each battlefield is very small and incorporates the expected loop of exploring an area until you reach and unlock a door that leads to a shortcut to where the boss is. Movement, however, is very dynamic and very easy, even with the absence of a grappling hook, as there is plenty of vertical space deliberately placed in order to do stealth takedowns, which is indeed very fun and produces added damage. I definitely spent more time jumping than running in this game. The player is also heavily rewarded for exploring every nook and cranny, as the game has a morale system for both player and enemies, which directly affects damage dealt and done. The player's morale increases for every battle flag raised that is scattered throughout the map. There are two types of flags. The first is the checkpoint flags, which is where the player can level up and travel to other battlefields. Then there are minor flags or marking flags that just raises the player's morale but without checkpointing the game. These flags are usually behind an enemy mob, with some requiring the player to defeat the mob's boss character in order to unlock them. Some flags are hidden really well, and there are runs where I cannot find them at all. This discourages the player from just running away from enemies or running past them to avoid battle. Although the battlefields are very generic looking and the enemy variation is lacking, finding a battle flag after tracing a hidden path through the roof or ledges is very rewarding. Finding these flags are also imperative, as morale resets every battlefield and also decreases to its default value when defeated. Also, when you find all flags in the area, that usually means that your morale is equal to the boss's morale at the end. Battle relies heavily on perfectly timed deflects or parries, which are used to stagger enemies in order to deal heavy damage. In terms of its mechanics, it is most similar to Sekiro, to explain it in FromSoft terms. The difficulty is not unfair, as although I get beaten to a pulp, especially by the first boss plenty of times, I can still see my improvement battle after battle, especially when I really understand how the game works. Also, after a certain story progression, you can respec your character infinitely at no cost. The game also has wizardry spells, which are basic elemental magic attacks or buffs that use spirit, or the game's stamina system, which decreases when using spells or dodging, but it restores for every perfectly timed deflect done. This means that there is no finite number of magic that you can use during battle as long as you properly manage it. The hardest boss is the first boss, as a lot of players are harping on about in the socials, but it truly is, as this is the part where you're expected to learn about the game's mechanics, especially ingraining it into your brain that you will not go far if you do not take the parry mechanic seriously. Afterward, any boss you encounter will be challenging, yes, but not as dire as the first one, because it will just be a matter of properly studying the opponent's moves and not making any mistakes. The story is loosely based on the Yellow Turban Rebellion during the Han Dynasty, with famous historical figures such as Liu Bu appearing in the story. The story adds a fantastical twist with demon-infested enemies, especially to the bosses you fight. However, maybe it's how the character was introduced, or maybe they did not properly set the motivation of the character, but I just can't seem to care enough about the story. It also does not help that some of the voice acting needs some more work and some of the dialogue deliveries are questionable. They're also not consistent in the pronunciation of names, and some deliver their lines with awkward pauses in between them. The cutscenes are phenomenally animated though, and it excels in the action scenes. It also breaks the immersion when a character that is supposed to be missing is right there in the game's so-called base of operations or the village where the player can respec and upgrade, and I can talk to that character. I will give props to the character creation though, as it is very detailed. I can even edit out the specific wave or curl pattern of my character's hair, and as a wavy girl myself, I loved it. I also remember a viral TikTok video where the poster's husband is trying to make his character look like her, and it really does. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The game is currently being review bombed because of its poor performance on PC. And sadly, that is indeed the case. Frame rates are indeed not consistent. To be fair, I have a mid PC, and I can still play even if the game set everything in low in order to get the best performance, but I still get stutters, which is of course a big detriment in playing a game that is all about perfect timing. I actually had a hard time with the 6th boss, and I can't even say because it was hard, because truthfully, I can see the attacks coming and I get the timing. I was just not able to fight it properly because every time it does its special attack, which I am supposed to parry, the game stutters and lags, dooming me to my death. This almost made me quit the game, and I had no choice but to grind to over-level myself, which is yes, a legit tactic, but it takes away the joy and the satisfaction of defeating the boss afterward. I greatly enjoy Souls-like games, even if I die 100 of times, because I know that the reason for my plentiful demise is a skill issue that I can improve upon. However, it becomes just frustrating if the reason I die is because of a stutter or something that I cannot control. There are also random bugs here and there, especially my character not being able to run after resting at the checkpoint for some reason. Overall, the PC ports needs to be more refined and optimized. The time has come to answer the question, is Wolong Fallen Dynasty worth buying? At the price of $60, I will say yes, with reservations. If you want another Souls-like game, this is a good game with fun battle mechanics. Just keep in mind that it is not extraordinary. Just don't buy it at full price on PC, or better yet, just try it on Xbox Game Pass. You can just buy it on sale, especially since I do not think that anything much will be spoiled in this game, and specifically in this, the battle experience is what makes it interesting, not the story. If you plan to play it on PC, maybe wait until it patches the game in terms of performance. Although to be fair, I was able to play the game even with my mid-PC, although yes, there are stutters in boss fights here and there, which made me lose some time. Again, I liked playing it, but some aspect needs some more work. So that is what I think about Wolong, and if you agree or disagree, why not share your opinions below, especially if you have played this game on other consoles. Thank you for joining me in this video. This has been Gwen from Eep's Hideout. Bye!